everybody, it's Kathy Champion and welcome back to my craft room. I am going to continue along with the series that I had started in embossing, and the one other technique that y'all have probably seen me do, but I wanted to kind of re-emphasize that if you do not have the heat gun to use with the embossing powders, there's another way that you can emboss without the gun or the heat tool, and that is using the Ranger Perfect Pearls. And don't laugh about my container, it was a cheese container, but I use it to keep my perfect pearls in. And they, like a lot of the embossing powders, come in a variety of color. I don't have them all, but I do have several. I do need to get a black because I think these are just so pretty. They do show up really well on the paper. And what I thought I would do today is I'm going to do some stamping and show you how this how these work and how pretty they are. They're very iridescent. They catch the light really well. And let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do, with these, you use an ink just like you would, like the VersaMark, just like you would use in heat embossing. This is called Perfect Medium, and this is the little one that comes with the pack when you buy the Ranger. But it's basically, if I can get it open, it's basically the same type of embossing ink as the VersaMark. It is just a watermark ink, and you can see the pad looks very similar, but I'm not going to use this one because it is very small. I am actually going to use my VersaMark ink, and it works the same way, so there really isn't any difference. I'm also going to use, I have these in my store now, and this is called the Surface Sweep. And this is perfect for sweeping away the excess powder, and we'll get to that a little bit further in the video. And with the kit that you get, you usually will get a couple of brushes. So I have the finer tipped one, and then I have this one. And both of these work really good. You're going to want to have some type of cloth, and I've got a microfiber cloth that I'm just going to fold and lay over here to the side. I'm going to go ahead and pull out all of my brushes and lay them right here. And I have some cardstock. Now, of course, you can't do this without stamps, so of course I have some stamps. And the first one I want to do, and I'm going to use my Misty. Again, you don't have to do this. You do not have to use a Misty for this, but I'm going to do this because I want to make sure that I'm getting a really good impression. So I'm going to actually use one of May's monogram stamps, and I'm going to choose the K for Kathy. And the reason I picked this, I had used this K quite often because I made some little thank you cards for myself, and I used the K. So I'm going to set that K right there, and I'm going to go ahead and pick it up. And then I'm just going to use my VersaMark, and I'm going to ink that up really well. Now, I'm not going to rub, I'm just doing a tap, 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 because you don't want that ink to get down in between those letters. You just want it to go on top. So I'm just going to press that down on my paper. Just like that. And I can see my mark, but I want it to be a little bit more prominent. So I am going to go ahead and put that down one more time. And I think we got a good impression. So now I'm going to take this out and put this over here. And what you want to do is choose your color, and I'm going to pick this really, maybe I'll do this green. This green is beautiful. This is called Festive Green. And what you're going to do is you're just going to tap your brush in it, and you're just going to rub it over top of your image that you stamped. Just making sure that you really get that in there. Rub it on there really good. Now what I like to do is I take my corner of my paper and I will try to sweep back into my container as much of the powder as I can. just like that. You can't always get it all, but you can get a good little bit. So once I do that, now I'm going to use my surface sweep, and I'm just going to hold on to my piece of paper in one corner, and I'm going to sweep this. I'm going to come back with this brush, and I'm going to clean it. Now with this one, we must have gotten some of the embossing powder, the ink, down underneath that K. So let's try that again. What we're going to do this time is I'm going to use the anti-static. So hopefully we will not pick up that much of the color. So let's just try this again. Alright, maybe we'll use a different color this time. Y'all all know that blues are always my favorite. So I'm just going to brush this powder away off of my surface. And this time we're going to use this little anti-static. Put that down just like you would if you were doing any other type of embossing. And now let's bring this back over. I'm going to put this back into my Misty. Oops, you don't want to do that. You do not want to get those magnets close together. They will definitely clink together, and sometimes they will break. We don't want that. Alrighty, I'm going to really get the ink on this really good. And we're going to put it to the paper. We'll be gentle this time. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it. I just want it to kiss the paper. Not quite enough. That's a little bit better, but still not quite there. That's why it's good if you have a stamp positioner to use that when you're doing this type of technique, because you may have to stamp over top, and we all know how hard that is to line up if you use a stamp block. So, okay, that looks a little better, but it still looks like I might have gotten. Let's try one more time. There, that looks good. So let's go in now. Let's do, how about if we do a copper? This copper is very pretty. And you get a lot of this powder in a container. They look small, but you really don't use that much of the powder when you're doing this. So I can usually just use what's in the top, which is a great way to not get it all over everything. So again, we're just going to go, this time I'm going to be a little bit more careful of getting it just on my K. I think using that anti-static is going to make the world of difference in how this is going to turn out. I love doing different types of media, and like I said, when starting in February, I'm going to start doing Valentine's cards. I know we did one, but I'm going to do a Valentine series, and we are going to incorporate all of the different types of embossing folders, heat embossing, and also using the perfect pearls. Okay, so now we're going to use our surface sweep, and we're going to sweep that off. Now see, that worked so much better, and look how beautiful that K is, and look how iridescent it is. Okay, so this one was a fail, and I'll tell you why. I did not use my anti-static. Ink got down on here. I can feel the stickiness, so that's what happened, and that was all user fault, my fault, because I should have used my anti-static. Your little powder buddy is so nice anytime you're doing any type of embossing like this. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, what if you wanted to do a really pretty sentiment for someone inside of a card? So let's say this is the piece that we're going to use inside of a card. And let's go ahead and put it into our Misty. Now I'm going to powder this whole piece before we even get started. And then I'm going to try not to touch it because I don't want to get any fingerprints or any type of oil from my skin. And let's pull this one off. We need to clean this one, so I'm going to lay him over there. And I'm going to grab this stamp set. This one is called All About You. Again, this is a May stamp set, and I thought this would be really great for a sentiment stamp. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a sentiment. And I love this You, because that's what the stamp set is, All About You. I've used this stamp set quite a bit because I think it's a really good stamp set to use for inside of cards. You are, and what's so nice about using the stamp positioner is you can actually line your stamps up exactly how you want them. And this one would be good for a, this would be so good for a Valentine's card. You are so loved. And see how you can offset your stamps. So let's bring this one down. And that one down. This is a little tip that May had on her channel, on her top tips, and that's to use a pencil to position your stamps, because the pencil does not stick to your stamps. Your fingers do. And I think I want that R up just a little bit. Just like that. I like the way that's laying. And then I think what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple of the little hearts. Maybe one here. And, or how about we'll do this one up here. And we'll trail it down with the smaller ones. See how cute this can be just by building your inside of your card using your stamps. Now you can do this with ink as well, which I know that you know that. But I just wanted to show you how you can use these perfect pearls. Another technique of embossing that is gorgeous. I think I'm going to move that magnet there because I want this heart to come down just a little bit more, trailing down the end of the card. Maybe even turn it so they're kind of pointing like that. And maybe we'll do that one like that too. I like that. So let's go ahead and pick up all of those. And then we're going to use our VersaMark ink, and we're going to go ahead and ink this up really good. Now if you have the VersaMark ink pad, they do sell a re-inker for this, which is fantastic because that's the good thing about a lot of our ink pads. You can get re-inkers for them, so you don't have to purchase another pad. You can just re-ink the pad you've got. These pads last a long time. So get that down in there. And then I'm going to stamp this down. And I'll probably have to do that a couple of times. I can see it, but it is faint. So let's go ahead and do this again. You know, sometimes the things that take a little bit more effort are the things that make our cards so beautiful. And I think this is one of them. So let's go down with this again. Oh yeah, I think we got a good amount of our ink on here now. So let's pull this out. I'm just going to lay this over because I've got to clean those stamps, but we're going to do this first. Okay, let's decide on our colors. I think for this I want to go with the pink, and this one is called Pink Gumball. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually shake it up a little bit and get some extra into the top, because that way I can just use that on my top.